So, of course, it is December, and that means that we're pretty much in the thick of Christmas. I mean, Christmas is at the end of the month. Everywhere you go, movies, television, the stores, the radios, like, it's all about Christmas time right now. I mean, there's no way to get around it now. But we always have those holiday specials and movies that we always go back to, whether it's Frosty the Snowman, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, Charlie Brown Christmas, Home Alone, Elf, Santa Claus, Polar Express, Christmas Carol. There's a lot to choose from, and I do my best to try to catch all my favorite ones at least once a year. Like, I do my best to try to keep up with everything, try to make it an annual thing. And then there's some of those specials that are not really all that great, but every year I still end up watching them, even though I'm not the biggest fan of them, but mostly because they're there. And one of the ones that shows up every single year, and is not seen as one of the great ones overall, but it's one that it's definitely worth talking about, and apparently it's got a big fan base, because every year since I did a post of it over on the main website, it's always one of the highest viewed posts I've had on there. Like, there is a demand that people that really took to this special that I'm about to talk about here, and that is 1992's Frosty Returns, which is billed as the official sequel to Frosty the Snowman, official in quotation marks, because they've had like 3 different specials that are supposed to be the official sequel to Frosty the Snowman, which you really can't tell which one is which. But Frosty Returns, if you don't know what this is a crit special that aired back in 1992, like I said. Featured John Goodman as the voice of Frosty the Snowman and Jonathan Winters as the narrator. Featured some other notable people behind it, mostly Bill Melendez, who worked on the Charlie Brown specials, music by Mark Mothersbaugh, who does the score for the Rugrats and most of the classic Schuster shows. Some different animation voice legends overall. I mean, there are some notable names in the cast as well. It's one of those specials that is never really seen as a classic, but it's always the one that's shown every single year, opposite Frosty the Snowman on CBS. There's a lot to talk about with this one. A lot of stuff that's well worth talking about, so why not discuss it here? There's a lot of moments in here that make in the special that don't make a whole lot of sense overall. So, figure why not talk about this for a little bit here. And we can go right ahead and just get right to it. And start off with one of the most interesting, bizarre things about this at the beginning, and that's the fact that it opens up with a narration by Jonathan Winters, which isn't that weird per se, but, it definitely has some things about the opening is very interesting, to say the least.
Some folks say, you want to really see the country? Take a bus, or hop a train, ride a bike. Me, I'm an old-fashioned kind of guy. Stick to what I know. Snowflakes. I know it's not for everyone, but so long as you pack light, and wear at least 3 layers of undies, it's a lovely way to spend a winter.
So it starts off with him narrating the story on a snowflake and the snow that is falling in CG. But for some reason, if you watch this on CBS, for some reason they cut the CG out, and you're basically just looking at a blue screen of nothingness.
Some folks say, you want to really see the country? Take a bus, or hop a train, ride a bike. Me, I'm an old-fashioned kind of guy. Stick to what I know. Snowflakes. I know it's not for everyone, but so long as you pack light, and wear at least 3 layers of undies, it's a lovely way to spend a winter.
So the first time I watched this, I had no idea what the heck was going on. And I had no idea, like, did something happen? It's like the digital connection going on or something. But no, they cut the snow out for no reason. Like, it's gone for reasons that are beyond me. The snow doesn't look terrible, per se. I mean, it looks like 1990 CG effects when... It doesn't look that bad overall, and you think that the fact that this has been airing since 1992, somebody at CBS would have figured that out, and it's just weird that they have that there, but trust me, that's the least of the special's problems, as we'll continue to talk about as we move along here. So you got the opening, and you have Mark Mothersbaugh doing a decent rendition of the Frosty the Snowman theme song, but at the same time, it's hard not to listen to this and not think of Rugrats. Like, you hear what I mean? Like, you hear that the second ba 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 ba, and it sounds like something you would hear on Rugrats, and that's something that pretty much is all over the special too. Like, whenever you hear that music, and the fact that it's the same guy that does Rugrats, it's hard not to think of that overall. But especially, and also it's not hard not to think that this is like a Charlie Brown special that takes place outside of the Charlie Brown universe because all the kids look like Charlie Brown characters. But as we continue on, a snow day hits the town of Beansboro, and of course the kids are happy that the snow is falling, while the adults are ready to throw their shit to the wall at the thought of shoveling snow again. They go into this musical number where the kids are all happy about the snow, and the parents are just like, "Shut the fuck up! I hate shoveling snow!" And we then meet our main character in this, who's Harley DiCarlo, played by, like I said, a pre-Mad Men Elizabeth Moss, and she goes on. She has her friend Charles, who looks kind of like a male version of Peppermint Patty's best friend Marcy in a way. Like, she literally looks like if Marcy had a sex change. This is what this kid would look like.
Holly, why aren't you playing outside? Wasn't invited.
Apparently, you have to be invited to go outside and play in the snow instead of, I don't know, just going out there and playing in the snow. But she's in there perfecting her magic trick, and I never saw this until a couple of years ago. I want you to look at this very closely when I'm about to show you.
Right now we've got to rehearse for the winter carnival.
There's a bear in the background that's literally giving the audience the middle finger. Like, it looks like, I know what you're thinking. It looks like he's got his, thumbs up, but look at the positioning of that. Look at the position of where the thumb is. And tell me that does not look like he's flipping you off. Like, I swear, I just noticed this in the last couple of years, and I'm just kind of like, what the heck what the heck is that? It's just like, wow, they really threw that in there. Like, it's literally like they're telling the viewer, hey, go fuck yourself. Like, we finally do get introduced to Frosty, which I gotta say is not bad casting for John Goodman to play Frosty. I think, yeah, he looks much different compared to other versions of Frosties in the past, but as far as a voice goes, it's not a bad choice.
Oh, no, you don't. You want to take something, take the tie. Unless you think I need it. How do you well dress for this winter carnival anyway? I mean, I don't want to underdress. But if I could get away with a tank top or something more casual.
Not a bad choice at all. Like, I could definitely see him playing that role. But as soon as you meet Frosty, you start to see some of the interesting problems that this movie sets up right away.
Who are you?
The name's Frosty.
Dead. He took his hat off. He should be dead at this point. He takes off his hat, and I'm sorry, but wasn't the point of the first special to keep the bad guy from getting Frosty's hat that's keeping him alive? I mean, he has the ability to take off his magic hat at any time at all, which, according to the original special, immediately causes him to revert back to being an inanimate snowman in the original version and the other sequels as well. I counted. It happens 4 times over the course of this special, and nobody addresses it whatsoever. But you know what? It gets even stranger than that, because but Holly's mother, who's played by Jan Hooks, the late Jan Hooks, rest in peace, comes to her and shows her a new invention called Summerweeze, and I'll talk about that in a second. But first, let's talk about how this scene begins, because I want you to notice something that happens when she's showing off this product here.
Mom, this is Frosty.
Well, I'm sure he is. Okay, no.
She's spraying the stuff, and Frosty is still moving. Like, nobody notices this snowman that's moving around here. I'm sure somebody around her would have noticed, hey, that snowman is moving on its own. What the hell is going on here? But, trust me, it gets stranger than that.
Lil, how did you get that sidewalk of yours so clean?
You won't believe this, Merle, but I never had to lift a shovel.
You're kidding.
Watch this.
Incredible.
So, I'm sorry, but the correct response from her mother should have been, Holy Mother of God, there's a moving talking snowman standing next to my door. My whole perception of reality is completely disoriented in every way, shape, or form. But no, her reaction is, whatever, it's cool. And, the neighbor has no real perception on what the hell is going on here. The clip is paused literally with the neighbor having this look on her face like she just took some drugs before she met her up. It's just, incredible. The whole Summerweeds concept, I can understand this being kind of a major plot point, because this was around the time when we had a plethora of environmental kids movies in the early 90s, stuff like Ferngully, The Last Rainforest. We had all these specials talking about, protect the environment and all that type of stuff, and there were a bunch of them back then, but the concept of Summerweeds, doesn't that remind you of the plot of Envy? So, are you meaning to tell me that Barry Levinson took the idea of a spray that makes something go away with just a spray can, and nobody knows where the hell it goes? Did Barry Levinson really take it from that? Something to think about here. But, of course, the part that gets to me is that Frosty yells when the stuff hits him, Nobody can tell it's him screaming, and even then, they're more fascinated with stuff being sprayed by a can. Can you see why I'm saying that this gets stranger and stranger as we move along here? After that, we meet our main villain, who's Mr. Twitchell, played by Brian Doyle-Murray, who does not have a mustache to twitch, which I think that's a missed opportunity. Why is he named Twitchell, then, if you're not going to have him literally have a mustache to twitch? Like, like, I'm going to go take you into... instead tie you up to a railroad track, like... But yeah, his evil plan is to have all the snow gone by the time of the Winter Carnival, which... make his product kind of obsolete, except in snowstorms, depending on where this takes place, would move more likely to be used again, once and never again. But so as the special continues into the second act, Frosty's able to survive these trucks that have summer wheeze around somehow. Like, I literally think Snoopy's doghouse is right around the corner. I still think this probably takes place around Charlie Brown's neighborhood, because how the heck would he survive this when you see these trucks all over the place, like spraying stuff around here, and every commercial break is just like, oh no, what are we gonna do about Frosty? He's gonna melt. And then as soon as they get back, it's just like, oh, it's okay, he survived the first night. And then like, this is a Bill Melendez directed special, so it wouldn't surprise me if Snoopy's doghouse was somewhere we can go hide. But then Holly then hides Frosty in her fridge, which is able to fit a man-sized talking snowman, and does not have a separate thing for its freezer and the fridge, which... this must be a cheap refrigerator, if that's not the case. But it gets even weirder from there. Holly's friend Charles talks about the importance of winter, and then for some reason, those kids that were so happy in the beginning about snow have this miraculous 360-degree turn. Like, they become the most hypocritical people ever and decide that, oh, we hate snow now, and we want summer to come.
Yeah, I don't think snow's so important. My dad says it causes heart attacks.
He must have snow confused with chili dogs.
Like, they're all bored, and Holly's the only one that's just like, this is very fascinating stuff. She's got, like, her hands like you do when you're listening to somebody, just like, I'm very fascinated by this. Please continue.
I think it should only snow 1 day a year for the Winter Carnival. After that, I wish it would melt so we could have 10 months of summer vacation.
Yeah, that'd be right. All right, 10.
Like, they're literally turning on the thing that they were literally praising at the beginning of the movie. It's like... what happened between the original song and this scene? Did the parents just force the kids to hate snow, or they'll take away their iPods and all that? Then again, this is 1990. I don't even think people use iPods anymore. Like, I'll take away your internet service or Wi-Fi connection. But then again, this did take place in 1992, so it'd be like, no more Super Nintendo for you if you don't start hating snow, or they take away their toys or ground them or something. Like, there's no indication between this scene and the opening song where the kids all of a sudden decide that we're going to change our ways and we're just supposed to accept it. Like, Holly meets up with Frosty again, who decides to just leave the fridge for no reason, and no problems whatsoever sneaking out of there or anything. The mother clearly doesn't give a crap at this point. So she meets up with the Winter Carnival, and again, nobody notices this giant talking snowman talking to this little girl, and it's just like, sooner or later, somebody in this town is going to have to notice this guy at some point. And then they start singing the main song of the special, which is Let There Be Snow, which is not a good song whatsoever. It's pretty generic and mediocre, but nowhere near as WTF as letting someone like Brian Doyle-Murray, the brother of Bill Murray, rap. And this is not even a joke, and I'm going to let you listen to what I'm talking about here, because I could not believe that they actually did this.
I thought once you made your fortune, you could sit back and count your loot. But now that I've conquered Beansboro, I'm ready to trade this suit. I want a crown that fits me. I want a cape that flows.
This is like literally letting Brian Doyle-Murray's character from Wayne's World rap. Like, remember that rap he had when he's trying to talk to Wayne about Noah's Arcade?
Come bust a move where the games are played. It's chill, it's fresh, it's Noah's Arcade.
And they were doing that as a satirical joke. We're supposed to take this seriously. And it's just like, he's driving in his limousine, rapping about how he wants to be the king of winter by destroying it, which definitely sounds like politics, all right. Charles eventually meets Frosty for the first time, and just like everybody else, he could give two shits about what's happening there. They all start dancing, and it's some of the most bizarre dancing ever. Like, this dancing makes Elaine's little kicks dance look saner compared to what I'm about to show you, to let you see here.
Come on, don't make me dance alone.
Like, they're not even doing anything. They just have their hands up in the air, and they're just moving their legs one side to is one foot from another. It's not even really dancing. Like, Elaine's dance from Seinfeld was more choreographed than this right here. I mean, that's how bad it is.
Sweet, fancy Moses.
But, Of course, Mr. Twitchell comes by, sees Frosty, and automatically decides, I need to kill this snowman, so instead of me doing it, I'm going to go send my cat out to spray him with the summer wheeze. So at first it seems like they got away. They managed to escape him at first, but then, all of a sudden, apparently the cat got to him beforehand. So you go back 12 seconds before the moment they go back and to see that Frosty's been hit. Watch as Frosty and the kids sneak into the ice cube at the ice castle they have at the carnival. He makes it inside seconds before the cat comes by to spray him. So what happened? Did he turn into like a chest burster all of a sudden and just come and then started spraying them there? I mean, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but... And again, they have the commercial break where it's just like, oh no, will they be able to fix Frosty? There's no ice, there's no snow around here. But don't worry, Charles surprisingly had a big bag of snow that he was saving for an experiment. And he said, you know what? I don't need this. I'm going to give it to Frosty, which is like holding the tension there for only a couple minutes there. It doesn't really help your case. So yeah, as you can tell, logic takes a big step into you-know-what at this point, but it somehow gets even more insane than that. So... Okay, so the day of the Winter Carnival finally arrives. It starts snowing like crazy, and hey, good news for Twitchell. He can use that to promote his summer wheeze. And once we actually get to the carnival, nobody gives a crap at all. Like, Holly's mother just reads like she's reading off a damn script, and she's not even doing it convincingly well.
Welcome, one and all, to Beansboro's annual Winter Carnival.
Give her something to do instead of just... like reading this softly, or like an awkward person would do. You're like, welcome, one and all. Like, that's how she literally sounds whenever she's talking. And even the music is like, okay, we're done with this. We gotta move along here. But then 30 seconds later, Holly gives a speech of what is supposed to be an important message about why snow is so important. And even when she does that, she doesn't give a shit.
Summer wheeze is not the kind of magic we look forward to every winter, Mr. Twitchell.
Call security.
Your product is dangerous. What's convenient for today isn't always safe for tomorrow. We need snow just as much as we need rain or sunshine or clean air.
Little girl, I think your hat's too tight. Now, as I was saying...
I'm not finished, Mr. Twitchell. And unless you've got a spray that makes little girls disappear, you're gonna have to listen.
Well, I don't have a spray, little girl, but I have this. It's called a gun. Now, as I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted. No, that doesn't happen. So finally, after 20 damn minutes, people are finally shocked that there's a friggin' talking snowman walking and dancing around. And only because Holly had her magic stuff with her, I guess, that's all that needs to impress this damn town. A hat, a cane, and a spray can. Like, this is one of the most pathetic towns I've ever seen. And thus, everything is right with the world. Twitchell is defeated. And for some reason, before he turns into a good guy, he decides, you know what? I'm going to take this truck that I've been driving in. I'm going to try to run over and kill these kids. Because like, there's a weird edit where he gets inside the truck, and then all of a sudden the truck is somehow on top of the ice castle. Like, what was his plan to begin with? Like, what was the plan? What was he going to do? Like destroy Frosty and the two kids and be like, that's how I'm going to win this battle. I have to knock these two kids and the snowman out. And, of course, that backfires big time. So, like I said, Twitchell's defeated, turns into a good guy. Frosty's named the king of the Winter Carnival, and he has to lead the kids once again. And, unlike before, they had a reason to leave. Like, he's just like, yeah, my work is done here. Bye. And just leaves. And Jonathan Winters takes us out with another narration. And again, the original end credits with the lack of a snow, if you watch this on CBS or the CG snow, takes us out. And that's it. Merry friggin' Christmas to you all. And, yeah, this is a weird special. I'm not gonna lie. It's a bad special. I mean, what was the point of this? You already had two decent follow-ups that kind of existed in the same world as the original Frosty the Snowman. But here, I guess the animation is okay. It is Bill Melendez animation, so you know it's going to be at least somewhat decent. The music is fine, but like I said, it's way too Rugrats-ish. The characters are so bland and forgettable. The environmental message just seems forced at times. But then again, they were all kind of forced in with other films around that time period. But then again, it doesn't help the characters just don't give a shit about what's going on. The story is just all over the place, and it would not surprise me if that relationship that CBS and the Peanuts Company have had with the studio ended, because that was around the time they stopped airing Peanuts specials. And I have a feeling that this was probably had a hand in ending that relationship. So this is a bad special, but it's one of those good kind of bads. It's kind of a guilty pleasure special the more I think about it. It's one of those ones you have to see to believe it, how bad and screwed up crazy it really is. the only real positive I can say about it is that John Goodman is putting his all into it. He's perfectly cast as Frosty, and like I said, he's the one that's really trying to put his hand on this and actually give it some memorability to it. And it's a bad special, but it's one that you kind of need to see to believe how bad it really is. But if you want a tolerable follow-up to the original Frosty the Snowman special, just go watch Frosty's Winter Wonderland, or even Rudolph and Frosty's Christmas in July, or hell, even Legend of Frosty the Snowman that came out a couple years after this. Seems more like a more logistical sequel to the original Frosty the Snowman than anything that this had. But I don't know. It's one that I get a lot of views on the other channel, so I figure I'm going to talk about it on here.